In this video, we're going to talk to you about how to train with arthritis, do it safely and still make progress with your health and fitness. Training with arthritis is possible and it's important to do, but we first need to understand why you need to train and how you need to go about it. So the first thing is arthritis affects 350 million people around the world, and it tends to affect women more than it does men. There's two forms of arthritis, which again is inflammation of the joints. That's osteoarthritis and rheumatoid arthritis. I've been trying to pronounce that for a bit and now I've finally gotten it. So who has it? Again, it's usually people who are a little bit older, and as we said, usually females usually struggle with it a little bit more than men. So what we need to do is we need to understand the disease and how to manage it. And again, when you're working with somebody as a coach, you need to understand where they're coming from, and communication is extremely important in order to get the best results out of clients who may be struggling with the disease. So a couple of things we're going to talk about firstly is, can you exercise? We're also going to talk to you about that you do need to lift weights and what exercises to avoid. So again, firstly, yes, you do need to exercise. What happens with inflammation around the joints is when that inflammation occurs, what's helping you is dependent on how strong your muscles, tendons and ligaments are. They're going to be what takes the pressure off your joints. So if you're not strong enough and your muscles aren't strong at all and they're stiff, they're sore, well then that's not going to help you in order to be able to manage those bouts of inflammation when things do get a little bit worse with arthritis. And again, make sure that you consult your physio on this and get the go ahead when you do start training. Some key points to remember is, yes, you can exercise. However, at the start, trying to manage it is very important. You need to be able to be conscious about your own body and the different periods of when you need to pull back and push on. So low impact is the first course that usually most people go about, which is swimming, aqua aerobics and things like that. But you do need to do some kind of resistance training. The resistance training, the weightlifting that you do need to do is a joint by joint approach, making sure that each joint is strong before you complicate it with exercises on the barbell. That moves us on to what exercises to avoid. You don't need to lift really heavy. However, the classes and the exercise plan that you do, you do not want it to be complicated. You do not want it to be too much load bearing, and you do not want it to be too hard to learn the exercise. Take a joint by joint approach, rehab approach. And again, doing this with a coach who knows what they're doing is vitally important, taking a joint by joint approach. For example, with the knee, essentially, or the hips, you really do need to make sure that you're getting the glute muscles strong first. Each individual hip, each individual quad and hamstring, and you move on from there. How many times a week to be training depends on the individual, but again, on average 2 to 3. Some sources of information that you do want to look into is, you do want to look into this during where we got this information, the American College of Sports Medicine. Just look up exercise and training and educate yourself as well on the topic. Lifting weights, as I said, the loss of mechanical integrity around the joint is one of the causes that's really going to make it a little bit difficult to be able to manage that inflammation. You do want to be able to be strong and to be functional. Contributing factors to joint stress again is the imbalances between the weak muscles and the tight muscles. So again, strength training also helps with that. What exercises to do and to avoid. So key exercises, don't go near the barbell straight off. Just make sure that you firstly have that coordination and basic level muscular endurance. Keep impact low with keeping off, keep impact low with trying to avoid doing multi-joint movements. Try more single joint movements. And again, the fewer exercises, the better. That means there's less complexity to actually learning what to do in your program. And also one of the things is that you want to acknowledge is, don't be afraid to communicate with your coach. One of the things is the fear of pain and the fear of the inflammation, because it is quite sore and extremely sore for some people. So make sure that you're communicating with your coach, make sure they have some knowledge of where you're at, and that you will go through bouts where it's going to be a little bit tougher than usual, but strength training is really going to help you. But make sure you're doing the right stuff.